Welcome to Your Life in Film. I'm your host, Ted Bennett. Joining me this week, Joel Froome. Joel is a cinematographer, and his most recent film, The Yeti, should be out now, actually, I think. Joel is a wonderful bloke. Got on very well with him. I liked him a lot. Since recording this episode, I've had to rewatch a lot of films, and, if you follow my Letterboxd, I might be giving away some of his answers. I hope you enjoy it. It was a lot of fun to record. So, you're Sydney originally?
Yes, from the northern beaches of Sydney, a town called Mantle Beach, which is a great place to grow up, and I loved it. I miss it a lot.
I've only ever been to I've been to Sydney and Melbourne, but
yep.
Touristy as fuck stuff like
I don't know if you ever got the
Kilda.
ferry. No, I mean good times always. I mean,
they're lovely.
It's a lot of fun. No, Manly's somewhat touristy. A lot of palms there. Very very popular surf town. Just to get the boat across the ferry across the harbour.
Oh, nice.
To go hang out in Manly, but yeah.
Oh wait, I took the boat over to the zoo.
Okay, yeah. This is a bit further. Keep going around a bit further. It's,
okay.
Yeah. But just across the harbour there.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, I miss it at times like these when it's freezing outside where I am.
Right.
It's like, oh man.
Just winter in Australia, mate. That's where it's at.
Yeah, I know. But no, I mean, no one loves to complain like Australians in winter how cold it is, and it's like I've been over here so long now that it's just like, just shut up, I just don't. I can't listen to you.
I feel like I would take slightly colder winters and not have the spiders and snakes.
Yeah, that's true. That's
you know
true.
what I mean? Like, you don't want those big old huntsmen just fucking trying to get you, mean mugging you.
It's funny, I saw a meme the other day, and it was like one of the most accurate things I've seen. It's like, every Australian's got a huntsman story. I'm like, yeah, we all have like the one story. Like, we've got many of them, but we've all got like the one that was like, this one was terrifying, Yeah.
That did.
Like,
my buddy Rob told me a story about how like a huntsman, he was staying over at his buddy's house, and like his sister was his buddy's sister was kind of cute. In the morning she was like, "Are you all right with spiders?" And he was like, "Oh, I'm okay." And then it was this huntsman which had like 3 legs and was just scarred from fighting with the dog. And he was like, "Oh, fuck." And he went to like try and do something, and just by walking past it like mean mugged him. And he was like,
no. Oh my God, no. That's so good.
Yeah.
That's great. Yeah. But no, it was a great place to grow up and whatnot. And yeah, I do miss it.
Do you ever take your kids over?
Yeah, we used to go like every other Christmas.
Oh, nice.
So yeah, so this past year was the first, like, we didn't go back this past Christmas, and it's like we're really feeling it because it's the first time since pre-COVID that we didn't get away to anywhere warm. So it's like we're at the point of the winter now where it's like, oh, this was a terrible idea.
Yeah.
Like my kids are off school next week. And it's just so hard to entertain them during winter, where it's like, in Australia you can go outside all time of the year,
Do whatever you like.
So we go back there. My oldest daughter, she's like 10 and a half now. She's been back probably at least 6 or so times.
Oh, nice.
And my youngest daughter, who's 7, she has probably been back 4 at least as well. So we go back quite a bit. So
that's decent.
As much as possible.
And where are you currently shooting The Yeti? Or is that in the can?
The Yeti's in the can, yeah. That's coming out in April,
Nice.
which is exciting. We shot that actually in Buffalo, which is where I live, and it's amazing because it's the first time I've shot a film, like a big film in Buffalo. So like I think I've done like 15 features now or something like that, but it's like the first time
go home every night.
Yeah, which was amazing, but it was also like, it was so different because normally it's like you'd come around on the feature I did before this, I did in the summer in Baltimore, that sort of Baltimore DC area, and it's like it was really exhausting shoot, and like the weekends roll around, you're like in your hotel room and like, oh fuck, I just I'm gonna completely do nothing, and it's like I'm just gonna lie in bed, watch Netflix, and eat takeaway until I have to go to shoot again on Monday. But this time it's like Saturday morning rolls around, I get jumped on in bed like, let's go get breakfast. I'm like, oh man.
Oh no! Wait, I can't do life. I can't do that now.
It's just like it was such a different experience because I was just like I was so not used to have to do life as well as be a functioning human outside of a film set, you know. So
see, I've only had all the shorts I've directed have all been in sort of like the local area, or I've at least been close to where my partner is. So whenever I've finished shooting, I have to then just sort of come home, give myself like 45 minutes to an hour, quickly check the footage, and then be like, okay, we can do normal stuff. So like, I don't know like what I'm going to do if I ever go and do like, I've got to go do a shoot for a few weeks somewhere else, and then just sort of be like, I can just sit with my thoughts for the next 3 weeks.
Yeah, I know. It's so different. I mean, some of the films I've done, like I've done 2 features in Nepal, which is wild experiences and like amazing experience. I mean, had some ups and downs of carbon monoxide poisoning and all sorts of other adventures, but the time zone's awful to call home. So it was like, it was really hard to speak to the kids and really hard. So that was really challenging, but it's just like, but when you are away like that, you are just so immersed in the project, and it can be great for those aspects, but it can be hard on family and stuff like that. So you do have to find the balance for sure.
Yeah. But I mean, if you wanted stability and you wanted to be home every night, you would have just taken a very normal job, and it would have destroyed you mentally.
I mean, I'd say it would destroy me mentally, but I don't think it would, because I would get fired so quickly. Like I wouldn't like my wife has a relatively normal job. Like she works in brand marketing for Fisher Price, which is a big toy company. And they're great, and they've got a massive slide that goes down. They built like, you know, it's a fun company to work for, but you know, it's still the same corporate stuff. She comes home, tells me stories, or she didn't get any work done today because she's in meetings the whole day, and it's just not efficient. But like a boss did something, or someone did something, and I'm just like, why didn't you just tell them to go fuck themselves? It's like, well, like, yeah. She's like, well, like I can't because it's my job and my boss. I'm like, sure you can.
You can just tell them to go fuck themselves. If they're being a cunt, you tell them they're being a cunt.
Oh, exactly. Which I did. Like before my last like real job before I started as a cinematographer was I worked at Panavision for years on and off. Like I think I was there for like 6 years on and off. Like used to go backpacking, then beg for my job back a year later when I came home. And like I did say that to my boss once in front of clients, and he just tell me to fuck off and get back to work. You know, it's like but that, you know, that's how anything less than like, oh yeah, I would get fired way too big, because I would be my ADHD and the boredom and just pure repetitive nature. But yeah, I don't know. I would get fired before I think I would try to quit.
Yes, like that's my problem, because my partner Kirsty, she works copy for like a government website, so she is in meetings most of her day, and I'm like, oh, okay, and she's like, when do you think I get to do my work? And I was like, I don't know. And she was like, well, I'm going to do it on the couch tonight while you're watching a film. And I was like, no, you're not, because that's not when you're at work. She's like, yeah, but otherwise.
Exactly.
And I'm like, I'd say the same thing. I'm like, why don't you just tell them to go jump in the fucking lake? Like, And she's like, well, I can't tell them that. And I was like, you can. It's you who says you can't. And they're like, no, Ted, you can't say that to people. I'm like, nah, sounds like these people have never been told to go fuck themselves.
No, exactly. I've had the same conversation with my wife so many times. It's just like, you've got to, it's just like, it doesn't make sense to have meetings all day that you don't get any actual work done. Like, you need someone to come in and be like, this is dumb. You know, it's like even like you go to a pharmacy to pick up medicine, and they're like, they close from 1 to 2 for lunch. Yeah. I'm like, people need medicine. Like, I'm pretty sure like your work schedule should just like every day from like whatever hour for like 2 hours. Like, no one can schedule a meeting in these 2 hours, because I'm sure we've got shit to do.
Everyone's got shit to do.
I don't know, but that's why, I love being in the creative field, because it's like you can bounce around and be weird and wild with similar people, and it's
until
much
you
more built
to a finance money man, and then you're like, oh god.
Oh yeah, I think they've learned now to try and keep me out of those meetings a lot of the times. Luckily that's sort of, I don't get involved in too many of those things, but lately it's been a little bit more common. But
good, that's good stuff. So with the Yeti, how did that come to you? Do you know the guys? Do you know anyone, or is that just
No, it was a pretty random thing. Like, coming to Buffalo, it was a very ambitious project, because it was set. It's set in the 1940s Alaskan wilderness, and we were shooting the whole thing on a soundstage. And it's like the budget's like around $1 million, I think, maybe a little bit over. But like, seems like it could be a good amount, but it's like we could only, like, Frank, the production designer, is brilliant. like he could only build like 18 realistic looking trees, you know.
Yeah.
And the rest are just sort of like other ones. So, and we didn't have the ability because we didn't have that much fake snow and this kind of stuff. So, it was a very ambitious project. So, like when I first heard about it, it was through actually, I believe the rental house in Buffalo. They had asked when production were coming to town. They had asked about local cinematographers. They wanted to hire locally, and it was. And then I spoke to a line producer and kind of got in touch with them and had a really good interview with it was two directors, Gene and Will, who are great and both very different in terms of their experience and their dynamics. So it was a really fun challenge to kind of figure out and kind of come up with the look of it and everything. So interviewed for a bit, but then the film pushed and it was going to be like later 24, I think, and then it got pushed till January, like starting in January 25. So so part of the pre-production I was back in Australia for Christmas for, which is, you know, and then like the day I got home, we would drive straight down to the studio and start getting into pre on that. So, but it was a technical challenge, you know, because it was such a, because the studio's not massive. We only had 18 or 20 trees, whatever magic Frank was able to build. So it's like we didn't want to shoot off the studio. We didn't want all this kind of stuff. And the directors really wanted anamorphic, but they were also large. So, but then we're trying to find anamorphic large format lenses because it's like I personally don't like love everything completely shallow depth of field. Like so much looks these days. But in this, like we knew we needed it because it's like we didn't want the depth because we did, you know,
you'd hide the crime. You got to hide it in that depth.
Yeah, exactly. But no, it was a really, really fun one. But no, it came about randomly, and it was really fun to work with crew at home. Like some of my crew, regular focus pullers, have travelled with me on films all over the world, so to get to work with some crew that I worked with before, like at home, was a real blast. Yeah.
Ah, nice. I was because you sent me the trailer. Well, you sent me the article, and I looked at the trailer on it. I was looking, and I've always wanted to adapt the there's the woman in a polar night, which was then turned into a horror book by Michelle Paver called Dark Matter, and it's about someone that overwinters on a research station in the Antarctic, and they're on their own and they lose their mind essentially. And I was like, I'd always love to do it. I'd love to do it. And then I saw like how you guys had done the Yeti, and I was like, there it is. That's what I want. That's what I want. That's the color. That's the fucking feel. That's everything I want. And I was like, well, all right, I'll get the Yeti instead. That'll do.
Oh, that's funny. Yeah, I mean, it was like, you know, I think that's one of the things that, like, when I sort of had my first chat and interviewed for the film, like, my kind of pitch for it was, like, I sort of saw, like, The Thing obviously comes to mind, obviously, with the content, but it's like The Thing with no money, but then there's an element of Robert Richardson, who's a brilliant cinematographer for Tarantino and everything, who's amazing in his harsh pools of light in the interiors. It's like, if Robert Richardson shot The Thing with no money and half the talent, or I mean, probably even way less than half, you know, a quarter of his talent, you know, so it's kind of how I pitched. I wanted this Robert Richardson vibe mixed with The Thing, so it's kind of taking some elements for all that stuff. So it was a fun challenge. So for some of our interiors, we did a bit more of the dramatic pools of light and
nice
and whatnot, and then mixed with some of the atmosphere of The Thing, and it was a really cool visual challenge. I love how it turned out, and I can't wait for it to get out there.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing it. I'll keep me updated.
Yeah, definitely.
And when did you shoot The Twin? Because it must have been a while ago now. 2023.
Yeah, I think it must have been 2023. Yeah.
And was that because I met Logan at Austin? And saw the film there, and I was like, "Oh, this looks."
No, it's an interesting because it's like people are like a horror movie, but it's like it. I mean, I always it felt more like a family drama.
Yeah,
you know,
and it was played
with horror elements. Yeah,
it was played as a family drama as well, and you shot it in a very sort of. I always find that it's the spooky in the everyday is always scarier. Like the thing you think you see out the corner of your eye is always far scarier than whatever, or, you know, all that kind of stuff. And it definitely, the composition and the tone of all the shots really sort of lent into that. So like I was saying, it was...
Yeah, no, I mean, it was I can't believe it's that long ago. It was, I think that would have been it, because I don't even remember when we were at Austin Film Festival, but yeah. It was,
were you there?
Yeah, I was there for the premiere, yeah. I can't believe we didn't meet.
Was your premiere at the cinema out of town?
Yeah.
Oh, then yeah, we should have been there.
yeah. Which is fun. Like, it was a fun time at Austin Film Festival, but without going too much into it, I get it was just like, it felt like we were very much like, you guys go out here, and then we're just going to have all the other stuff downtown. And for the, like, I think maybe they should either just be a writers' festival or just make it much smaller.
Yes,
you know, because like their panels and stuff were great, but it's sort of like, if you weren't a writer and you pushed in a regular cinema on the outskirts of town, it was kind of like, this is a bit weird.
I was pleased because my hotel was like a Holiday Inn, about 5-10 minutes walk from that cinema. So,
nice.
For the first like 4 of the 8 days, whatever, I was having to commute, get a taxi into the city every day, and coming back every night. And then for the last 4 hours, I was just to walk up the road, and I was like, this is so much easier. Smoke a cigarette on the way and be like, done, let's go. I'm just
gonna chill. But no, it was, I mean, we had fun and it was great. You know, the film played pretty well there, but it was I think it was aimed at, like, going as a cinematographer to that festival was kind of like, I don't need to be here.
No, I completely agree with you. I think I felt like it was a writers' festival through and through. And I've had this with like a load of different festivals, that they're either like audience focused, writer focused, or everyone at the same level. And I'm like, that's all good, but what we need is, like, if this is everyone's at the same level, we need some higher ups to then go, right, I like what you guys did, let's go have a conversation. Because if we're all at the same level, then we're all going to be at the same, like, sticking point of, we got no money. Yeah. And when it's a writer's one, writers can collaborate together. But if you're a cinematographer or a director, as I was going there, it was a bit like, stories aren't a problem, you know?
Yeah, like, I've read some great scripts that, if, like, you know, if I won the lottery, I'd fund some great movies, you know?
Yeah. But that's not what festivals do. But hey, you know,
no,
it is what it is.
Yeah, no, it's still a good one. But no, it was a good place to premiere, and
it's a great, like, laurel to have on the poster. You know?
Yeah, definitely.
So that's good.
Yeah.
And what are you currently working on? If you can say anything.
Yeah, well, it's been a lot of post the last few months, like finishing off the Yeti. And I did a film, the one that I did outside of DC, Baltimore area, is a film called The Upside of Unrequited, which is kind of like it's not a sequel, but it's in the same universe as Love, Simon, which was a pretty popular coming-of-age story that Fox did years ago. And yeah, that was directed by the Shakespeare sisters, who are 2 wonderful sisters from...
Oh,
yeah. I know they were at Austin as well, yeah. Yeah, they're great. So, like, I got on that one really randomly, and basically had to decide to do it and then do the movie with barely any pre-production, because it was like ready to go the following week. So that was a baptism by fire. It was just like the hottest summer ever down there as well. So it was a really challenging shoot. But yeah, they've been doing post, because they were busy on the film that was premiering that was playing at Austin as well. Their time travel is dangerous. But then they've been doing all the posts on Upside of Unrequited, and so yeah, we've done color on that, and getting that out into the world as well. So it's really been pretty post heavy, and then I did a pilot of a TV show that hopefully we're going to shoot the rest of the series this year, which will be fun. It's the first sort of foray into the TV world.
How did that go?
It was great. Yeah, I mean, it was a regular director I'd worked with before on this amazing true story of a medical malpractice on a military base. So it's this amazing true story and a lot of fun. I think there's a lot of potential to get out there. But the whole kind of independent TV show model is something that I haven't really worked on before. But I think there's a lot of potential, and there's some great actors involved. So hopefully we get on that one soon. And yeah, besides that, there's been a bit of documentary stuff. I like to do documentary whenever possible.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I love doing doc. It can be a great change of pace from the
Yeah.
craziness of the narrative world. And I think I'd been doing like a couple of features back to back, and then a couple of years ago I shot a documentary series for CNN that was quite successful called "The United States of Scandal" with Jake Tapper. And but it was just like I'd been so busy on these narrative features that when you get there and you know they're like, "Oh, we've got 3 hours to set up," and you're like, "Sweet," for for like an interview and like piece to camera kind of thing. You're like, man, and then you get to sit down. It's a very fascinating. They're all very fascinating interviews, and you just get to sit and watch and listen to the interview. And like a lot of times we had the 2 or 3 cameras, so there was a lot to kind of monitor. But it was still just like it's a really nice change of pace from the chaos of like a horror movie late nights or any of that kind of stuff. So. But I also think like documentary. It's like because years ago. Sorry, without going on too much of a tangent, I shot my first documentary film was called I Am Human, and it was made like a genre film. Like they wanted it to be like a genre movie. So it's like we shot at anamorphic lenses. We shot it like, and I didn't really have that much documentary experience then. So it was like how to capture this film as if it's a narrative film, very sci-fi elements, very sci-fi framing, but it's real people, real surgeries, real everything. So it was such a good challenge to really put your head in the mindset of like, how do I tell this story without being able to completely, change the script or change the direction. You're in someone's house who's like blind, and we had to tell the story, but it's like how to light it, how to frame it, and it was such a good challenge that I found like it was probably some of the best I've learned about myself and just how to approach stories, because you can definitely take that stuff from a documentary world and into a narrative. Like when you read the script, like how do I like what's the base of what we're trying to do here? What kind of story are we trying to tell? So it's like so I love to do documentary in that kind of way in terms of real things. You don't have any of the bells and whistles and time to to make it all fake. Like so you've kind of got to think on the spot a lot more when you're doing your verite stuff. And so it's fun whenever I get a chance.
I sort of cut my teeth, as it were, when I first started in my career for film, doing EPKs for other films. And that was a similar thing where it was just like, I can't tell anyone there what to do or what to say. So I just have to try and capture events, and you just got to keep an eye on every corner and like, what are they talking about? And the way they're talking over there, like, does that look, let's shoot that. And then maybe we'll get a voiceover from someone else later, and it kind of has like a reference to it. And it's just that keeping your eye open for whatever you see there and then, instead of like you were saying, just sort of like, right, I've got to set up this shot. This is what I want it to look like. It's like, nope, don't worry about that. Just what's happening. What's the best way you can get what's happening? And it's like, oh, this is an interesting way of training your brain.
Exactly, yeah, and I think it really helped. So I do love working on documentaries whenever possible, in the middle of all the other narrative stuff. So whenever possible. But yeah, I Am Human was a great learning experience, and that I had actually done just before that. I did a New York segment of Morgan Spurlock first did it, like who's the guy who did Supersize Me and had made some really great documentaries. But he made a documentary about rats, and he wanted to make a horror documentary, and it's about rat colonies that are all over the world, and it's truly terrifying. Like it's really good. And my buddy Luca was shooting it, and he wasn't able to do they had to do a New York segment of it, and so I went down and did all that, and I never thought I'd like voluntarily be like lying on the subway platform in Chinatown in Manhattan, like, getting shots of rats, but just trying to find the right angles and stuff. But it was such an interesting concept. And yeah, a genre documentary is a really great way of training yourself to what is needed to tell a story, So I kind of brought that experience with me onto the I Am Human one. Yeah,
I'd say I'd sooner be lying on the subway floor trying to find rats than any office job.
Yeah, exactly.
Instant choice.
100%.
Are you solely a cinematographer, or are you looking at anything like producing wise in the future?
No, just solely a cinematographer. Which is funny. That was when I went to the Australian Film School. That was one of the trick questions that a friend of mine who went a few years before me told me because so many cinematographers like want to be directors, and they'll ask you like in your interview process, because there's like a written test, and then there was like a lighting test, and then there was an interview, and like during the interview, like they'll just throw it in there, like, what kind of films would you one day want to direct?
Oh,
and if
nice.
you answer anything but like, I'm a cinematographer, mate, I don't want to direct anything.
I only care about
Like
how
that,
it looks.
yeah, like you could have nailed everything else, but if you say like it's changed now because there's new heads of cinematography and stuff. But when I was there, if you said like, yeah, I mean, one day I'd like to direct this, you were out. Like you were
Good.
gone. Yeah, yeah,
You know what I mean? Because it does annoy me.
yeah,
That it's like, be amazing at the thing you're good at. Don't
yeah, yeah.
try and sidestep into good stuff into another good thing.
Oh, I know, right? And it's just like some people have so good. Like it's like I love like what Wally Pfister did with Nolan, but it's like you had to go direct that Johnny Depp movie, you know, and do commercials, and you know, and he's brilliant. And I'm sure he loves it. I'm sure he does really well. But it's like
Sure.
to give up being Nolan's cinematographer would be a decision that for some,
And
but some people really want
especially,
to direct. I
like,
guess you know.
considering like it's Nolan is such a visual storyteller. Like I know his stories are very complex, but there is such a visual element to all of his films that if you're his guy, then they're your films too. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Like if you're just a jobbing cinematographer that, you know, you're working on films where people go like, oh yeah, the lead actor was good, and that's all they've got to say about it, and it's like, yeah, go branch off if you've not got a thing. But if you've established yourself, you know, like if Deacon started to do directing, I'd be like, settle down, boy, come on.
Well, I do know it's like years ago, and like I'm sure it's public knowledge because it's been in other stories. But like one of my favorite cinematographers growing up, and is actually the person that I first heard about cinematography through, was John Seale, who's one of the greatest cinematographers ever. And he went to my high school many years before me, and so like I was in high school when he won the Academy Award for The English Patient. And he's brilliant. He's like the nicest, funniest. Like if you listen to his Deacon's podcast, I think they talk about like fighting and working with horses in the first 45 minutes before they get to cinematography. But anyway, he went and directed because he used to shoot. He shot like Witness and stuff for Peter Weir, but I believe John got an opportunity to go direct a film, and when I came back to it, I believe it was like Peter was going to do another film, and he was like, I don't work with the other directors, like I work with cinematographers, so, and that's kind of how their relationship stopped. So I think it's one of those, if it's something you really want to do, I think it's the only film John's ever directed. Maybe there's an itch to scratch for some people, but I mean, luckily for us, he came and kept on shooting and made like Fury Road, and he's a brilliant man and a brilliant cinematographer and a great guy. But for me, I don't have any sort of itch to scratch in terms of directing, for sure. Like I love what I do, and that the collaboration of it. But yeah,
I think there is, like, from the cinematographers I've worked with and the people who I know want to be directors, I think there is a very sort of clear line of the type of person. And as a director, I don't feel bad about saying this, they're cunts. Like it's a type of person who requires a lot more sort of like, oh, I want to tell this story, I want to do these things. Whereas I've always found like decent actors, decent producers, decent people that know where they want to be. They focus 100% into their role, and you can tell that there is a difference in the way that they approach it. They're not approaching it from I think I could do this better. They're approaching it in the, how can I make this the best I can do with what I've been asked to do with it. And I think like, oh, that's the person I'd always rather work with, because they're trying to think what's the best way we can make this whole picture, not how can I carve my name into this. And it's like, no. Let's take everyone's names off it. Let's just do that. No one's names are on it. The only name is the title. Just make whatever makes this thing great. And if this doesn't make this great, then we'll try again next time.
Yeah, exactly. And as a cinematographer, like my job, like I love collaborating with directors, and I work with all sorts of directors who are like some who are so extremely technical and know what they want from a technical side in terms of like lighting and lenses and all that stuff, and that can be great. Or like I've worked with directors who just like don't have any sort of knowledge or care more so about that stuff. Like they're so good with actors and story, and like they rely on me to kind of talk through that stuff with them, and I love that. And it's like, and I love all the different aspects you get of working with different people and different on different films and projects. But I just, I don't. I respect how some cinematographers get to a really big point in their career, and then they get an offer, and they say, "Sure, I'll go direct."
Why not me?
I'm not me. Won't be me.
No, I've always respected the I don't know what to do. That's why you're here. It's that simple.
Yeah, yeah.
You've mentioned some filmmakers from growing up and all that kind of stuff, and I wonder if these will come into your history of film. But as everyone's first film wasn't their choice, what was the first film you went to the cinema to see?
It's really fun to kind of try to scratch the memory of this, but because I in my head I'd always said it was Teen Wolf, but then I looked up Teen Wolf. Like I'm 45, so I'm getting old now. But then I looked up Teen Wolf, and I think it came out in like 85. I'm like, I definitely didn't see that in the cinema. So then I'm like,
right.
No, it had to be the Jason Bateman classic Teen Wolf 2.
Ooh.
I went to the cinema because I think I would have been like 8 years old at the local cinema. Because it's interesting because like when you think about the timeline of films and whatnot back in Australia, and it used to be so different with when things were projected on film, because like they didn't send fresh reels to Australia when the movie to come out the same day. So as I started to, go to the movies more and stuff, like I remember movies would come out that I would hear about and want to go see, and it would be like 6 to 8 months after they'd been released in the US because I had to finish those runs and stuff. So it's like, so normally, we'd get had to wait a while to go see them. But the Jason Bateman, brilliant boxer. He was a boxer in that one, wasn't he? I think the first one was basketball, second one, he was a boxer, But I remember going with one of my family friends, Ryan, who was a couple of years older than me, and I think we were probably menaces in the theater, just big popcorn. But it was like I just remember it being so magical and so much fun, like watching this ridiculous movie that I don't know, I was probably still too young to see, but with popcorn and just my friends and no parent supervision, it was just magical. And I do remember being in that little theater seeing that film.
It's interesting that you mentioned that they were old knackered prints. I used to be a projectionist, and back when it was all 35mm, so I would splice them all together. And when you got an old print, that you'd be swearing at the previous cinema who had it. You're like, you sons of bitches! You could have just run a cloth over this. You could have done anything. And then when you're breaking it down, you couldn't give a flying fuck what you're doing. You're just like, get it back in the reels. Fuck it off.
Not my problem.
Genuine. Like, did you put the headers and footers back in the right place? Fuck them. They'll figure it out. Come on. If they can't marry them up.
Because even like going through like all my high school year, like we didn't get digital projection till probably when I was in film school. So even as I'd started learning about cinematography and discovered what I wanted to do, I'd go to the movies sometimes with friends to see whatever, and it's like sometimes you'd be seeing like, this looks fucking awful, like what. It's like, and you see now as you like with digital, it's like there's a it looks like a raw image because it's just like the colors have all kind of gone to shit and it's like fallen apart. So it was just like that was part of the downside of having to wait for prints to get sent to Australia on some slow boat.
So when you went to the cinema for the first time, you said it was something magical. It wasn't a very cinematic film, but was it just the idea of being in that room that kind of ignited it?
Yeah, it was the idea of just, it's just everyone, like I have flashes in my memory of, we sat way too close as well. Like we were in like the second row of a relatively empty theater and it wasn't like a massive, it was like the Manly cinema one wasn't like the bigger one that was a couple of kilometers away. But it was just like how everyone was kind of in there to kind of just watch and kind of enjoy something together. And it was just a really fun time. And then I'm sure we were the shitheads making noise and laughing and like stuff, ruining it for everyone. But it was still, it was just the idea of sort of just coming together. Everyone's in there to watch and experience the same thing together, And I remember that being really, really fun and really, really liking it,
So this leads us maybe into your next question, which is, what film did you watch over and over again as a kid? You've already mentioned Teen Wolf 1.
I had not seen that for I've only seen that a few other times, but it's fun because it's like I try to. I mean, there's so much content now, and when I've got kids like a 10 and a 7-year-old, like I'm trying to get them like, just don't watch the new stuff. Like, let's go back and watch stuff. Yeah. So sometimes you go from the past, but like I was thinking about it, like I think it's probably a tie, but then there is a clear winner actually. I think the first would be my best friend when I was in like primary school. His dad used to work in Hong Kong and used to bring us back like VHS rips of movies.
Ah, beautiful.
So it's like he brought, but I remember him bringing back like Home Alone when I was like very young. But it's funny, like I don't think I even realized till I was older that it was a Christmas movie. Like we were just so obsessed with like the booby traps. Like for me, it's like it's one of the greatest Christmas films ever. But it's like when I was a kid, it was just like the booby traps were like the coolest thing ever, and like I wanted to do it to every room in my house and just do it to my parents, do it to mum and dad. So they got people coming over, like, good, let's fuck them up, let's go find shit.
Me and my brother broke my mum's big toe by setting up booby traps down the corridor, and like they were silly, like obviously coming, but then on the last one she decided to do a silly fall, did a bad turn, broke her big toe, and we had to take her to the hospital.
Oh no. Oh, of course, yeah. No, it was just such a fun film, but no, I think the film I watched the most, which is actually funny because after thinking about this, I showed it to my kids over the weekend, was I loved Speed with Keanu Reeves. Like I watched that movie many times. Like it's just
a dope film.
It was so much fun. I thought Dennis Hopper was just such a great bad guy, and it was just such a fun and it's like I watched it again, and it's it's a bit ridiculous, but it's like it's so much fun, and it's just such a great contained.
Like, was it Jan de Bont that shot it?
No, Jan de Bont directed it.
Yeah, because
he'd done Die Hard and he brought all of his, That's when you switch to directing, I guess. If you can,
I guess if you can do that.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that throws everything I said at the beginning out the window.
He's like one of 1,000, though, right? Like one of a.
Yeah, normally. So, after going through all these questions, did it then make you want to show your kids a load of films?
Well, yeah, it's like, because we always like, they're really interested and they always want to watch them because it is so fucking cold outside. It's like, like no joke, like Saturday, the feels like here was minus 30 Celsius. So it's like, we can't do anything. Like you can't go outside because it's like, they're like, we can't really go outside to play. Can't walk the dog. So it's like, we've been watching a lot of films and, some of the newer ones and stuff, but it's like, I look up, what rating is Speed? Like, can I show the kids? I'm like, got a few words in here and there, but I'm like, they're old
90s 18.
Yeah.
That's a 2025 12.
Exactly. So, like, but no. So, it's like, so we decided, let's watch Speed over the weekend. And they loved it. They were like, it's so much fun. And, like, my youngest daughter said a new celebrity crush was Keanu. So, it's like.
Not a bad one.
Yeah, exactly.
He's a decent guy.
Oh,
you know what I mean?
Yeah, he's just such a wonderful human being, by all reports. So it's like we love him and love his film. So, but got to get and I'm sure now that'll lead us into like the Keanu marathon at some point. Like I'm sure, surely the Matrix is in our
Babes in Toyland, the old TV movie he did. There you go. There's another one.
Is that right? Yeah.
It's dreadful.
So no. So
have you shown them many Aussie films?
Not many Aussie films. I think like Babe, Pig in the City might be one of the only ones. The Babe and Babe, Pig in the City. Yeah,
technically that's an Aussie film.
Yeah, because which is actually because like I had quite a connection to those films because my like Andrew Lesnie was just one of the greatest cinematographers who did all the Lord of the Rings films, and he taught us when I was at the Australian Film School for a little bit, and he's just such a weird and wonderful guy, and but the Babe films was like my neighbor who lived like 3 doors down growing up was the production designer on those films.
Oh shit!
So like when I first started getting interested in film, like I used to play basketball with his son sometimes. So went into, and his son became a photographer, which I always found interesting that he never like going into the photography path and had a dad in the film industry. He never made the switch, but he's really, really brilliant photographer. But I would always go down there and kind of chat, and he would show me some of his designs and then some of the stills from the films. He would talk about like how Andrew lit it and stuff like that. So like the Babe especially the Babe Pig in the City set, because it was quite a big set that they built and that he designed and stuff. So it was quite a classic Australian film. But I think I've only shown my oldest daughter that one, so maybe we've got to get to the Babe films again. But I think because Australian films, there's so many of them are more like a bit more grown up. So I think we haven't.
Yeah,
like Australians really love, especially the ones that I loved and connected with, are definitely way more of like your crime dramas or so the Australian used to love to make good crime sort of stories. So yeah, like
bangers.
Yeah, like I definitely don't think I'll show my kids Chopper anytime soon. You know, so
I don't know why.
Yeah,
they got to know about Mark Brendan Reid right now.
Exactly. Why does that guy have ears? But then I can tell the story but then I can tell them the story how I met him once. You know, so it's just like good times. Like back when he was doing his tour around.
Oh shit!
He was doing like a stand-up tour.
It wasn't just randomly in like Tasmania, just walking around his farm.
No, it was just at a pub where that he was doing a big talk out. Me and my friends got there early to go for the meat raffle, and he just happened to be there early as well. And we just went up to take a Chopper, and he sat with us while we were having a beer. Which is like, this is so surreal. Like I can't believe this is happening right now. But,
for years, I wanted King Kong tattooed to my stomach for so long, and I might still get it
one day. That's a really good bucket list. Like if the night is perfect, if the planets align, King Kong is going on the belly. But,
like boom, done.
But
I mean, that is weird. Like whenever I think of any Australian film, it is things like Wake in Fright or The Cars That Ate Paris.
I mean, Picnic at Hanging Rock as well. Like Picnic at Hanging Rock's such a brilliant film, but it's like again, I just don't think they're an age that they would appreciate it or kind of get that any of that kind of stuff. So yeah, I just don't. I know, like I really do love a lot of Australian films, especially from like when I was learning and whatnot. Because I think there's one thing that I kind of got to mention as well when talking about films, and it's very interesting because so many people get into this industry for the love of films and love of like directors and whatnot. You know, like love films and like an encyclopedia of films, and you know, your Tarantinos and your people who can just like Scorsese who are just like seen every film under the sun, and it's like, and I appreciate that so much, but like that was never me. Like I didn't get into this for a love of film per se. I discovered cinematography through a different route, and like I fell in love with the art of cinematography and the collaborative nature and the technical side of it, and just like what a cinematographer's job and role is on a production. And like I absolutely love that. So in my learnings as becoming a cinematographer, that's when I started to watch a lot of films. Like I went through and like watched every film John Seale had shot, like especially some of the Australian cinematographers like that I was lucky enough to know and be in touch with, and Andrew Lesnie and all these guys. And there was just such a strong, I think like years ago, there was like 4 years in a row that like the Australians won the Oscar for best cinematography, like Russell Boyd and Master and Commander.
I'd say if that's just Lord of the Rings.
Yeah. No, yeah, right. Yeah. But it's like, yeah, and I mean, they're just the Australians have pumped out some great cinematographers, but it's like I think it was for me to discover film through cinematography, and that aspect is kind of, and it has been interesting because like I've never been like a massive like film snob, and it's got to be it's art, baby. You know, like I remember when I was at film school, like I went to the Australian Film School, and like on the one Monday I was in there talking to a couple of my other cinematography students, and one of them was like, "What'd you do on the weekend?" I said, "I just went out with some mates on Sunday night, and I was really hungover and went and saw, I don't know, it was probably Transformers or some Michael Bay type." And he's like, "How do you watch that shit?" I'm like, "Mate, I was really hungover, and the thought of just being in a dark room with a Coke and a popcorn was magic."
Tipped up.
Yeah, and it's like I don't need art. Like I don't need to watch like a French New Wave film.
Just I think because if you can't appreciate a movie like for what it is, which is entertainment, then I think you're missing out on so much cinema, air quotes, because it's just like when I was at uni, me and my buddy Dave, who was a cinematographer for a while, we had spent all day learning about Italian neorealism, and then he came over to my house afterwards. We ordered a pizza and we watched Pacific Rim and Alpha Papa, the Alan Partridge film, and we were both just like, "They're sick, perfect."
And I think
that's just what I needed.
And I think that's what makes it so great, because it all depends on your mood. It depends on but it's just like if I only sit down and watch the old Criterion films, like I just don't think that's, to me, that's not what I want to get out of movies. Like, yes, brilliant movies. I'd love to work on some films that are that deep and brilliant, but it's also like, sometimes I just want to see shit blow up.
I mean, to be fair, if you look at my Letterboxd, it swaps over from 90s Hong Kong like Cat 3 gore films to Criterion documentaries on Vietnam War, and they'll both get a 4 out of 5. You know what I mean? And it's just like, no, you got to have both. You got to have the rough with the smooth. Exactly. I've got to watch Stone, and then I'm allowed to watch Mad Max.
Exactly. Yeah, and I think that's the way to be, and that's kind of how I, over the years of like watching movies and discovering films that people are like, haven't you seen this yet? It's like, well, it was never like all through high school watching old films. Like that wasn't what I did, and I discovered cinematography right as I finished high school. Even though John had won the Oscar, I'd heard about it that way, which was a great way to kind of get in touch with John. But no, I discovered cinematography like when I was finishing high school, and so that's when I started to dive in through what is cinematography, what do I like in that, and it's been a fun way of watching films.
That's a nice way to do it, and I think I used to feel that sort of that guilt of not having seen certain films, and now my brain is completely changed into, I haven't yet seen Dr. Zhivago. How much fun's that going to be? Yeah. Like so what if I haven't seen it yet? I'm looking forward to it. I'll watch it eventually, and it's going to be dope. So when someone says to me, "You haven't seen that yet," I'm like, I know. Isn't that going to be great when I finally do?
Yeah, it's gonna be great, and I do want to watch all sorts of, I only saw Stalker like last year, it's brilliant. And Deacon says it's one of his favorites, and it's like, I know it's a film I should watch. It's just like I got to find the right time and place.
It's fucking nearly 4 hours long.
Yeah, exactly. Like, I'm
bleak
just not,
as shit.
Yeah, I'm just not someone that can just pump them out every day and just like let's watch these films. So yeah, I think a lot of people might feel pressure, that they've got to be some sort of movie historian or buff and stuff like that, but you don't have to be to have some
watch what you like.
Have some success in this industry.
Yeah, I think being interested is the thing that I am more interested in. If you tell me about your favorite like filmmakers from the Giallo period of Italian cinema, I'm like, oh, dope. And if someone tells me why they love the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, like Michael Bay produced ones, I'm like, oh, sick. Like, you've got passion for whatever you're talking about. That's what I care about. You've got the passion. If you want to talk about how much you love sitting in a dark room and just completely getting washed over by this story, sick. I love it.
Yeah, like I think on like my Letterboxd top 4, like I think like I know I've got Nacho Libre on there. Like, I love that movie. Like, Jack Black.
Get that cone on my face.
It's just so good. Like, I love it so much. And like, it's funny because I saw that when I was backpacking many years ago, when I was in Canada. And after I'd been in Canada, I went down to Mexico. And I remember like really enjoying the movie when I saw it. Well, like, it's a bit ridiculous, But then like I went to a Lucha Libre match in Mexico City, and there was like a midget, and there was like a midget in a gorilla costume, and I was just like, it's all real. Like, this is, it's like, it wasn't far-fetched at all. Like, this is all
It was a documentary.
Yeah. But it's just like, I mean, I just laugh so much at that movie and its humor. And and it's just like, for me, that's why it's like, I would put it as one of my top 4 films, just because
also time and place. I may not watch Stalker in the right mind frame, but I will watch Alan Partridge Alpha Papa in the right mind frame on a certain day and think, that was perfect.
Exactly, right? Exactly.
And that's all I need.
Yeah.
So you have hinted some more grown-up-y, adult-y films, but what was the first, did you have 18s or did you have R's or X's?
Yeah, it was M, which is like for 15, recommended 15 and under, then MA, like mature adult, it had to be 15 and older, and then it was R for 18.
Okay. So what was the first R-rated film you saw, and how old were you?
Well, I know I had seen at a friend's house. I'm sure so many people saw Nightmare on Elm Street, but it's like I was definitely too young to be watching it. And I remember bits and pieces. I wasn't too scared by it, and it was a cool fun film, but it wasn't something that I really was that into or took notice of at the time.
Yeah.
But I think I distinctly remember it would have been right around my 14th birthday. I saw the trailer and I was obsessed, and I wanted to see Seven so bad. It was coming out a few weeks before my 14th birthday. So
That's
it's like,
much.
it's a lot. It's a lot. So I convinced my mom, because I think I'd already, it's just, I found it so interesting. And I think I was coming to an age, I'm sure a lot of kids, serial killers is so interesting. And this is just such an interesting film. And so I actually made my mum take me to the cinema on my birthday. And she's like, I'm his mother.
Mm-hmm.
I say he can watch this film. And they said, absolutely fucking not,
Yeah.
I'm
There's
sorry.
a bit where a woman gets stabbed to death with a dildo sword, and your mum's like, I said what I said.
I didn't tell her that bit on the trailer. It's probably a good thing I didn't have to watch it with my mum, because then it would have been really awkward.
Oh, mate. Yeah.
But then it's like, well, I really want to see this movie. So whenever the 6 months later that it came out on VHS, I'm like, Mum, that movie's out. Can you go rent it for me? They rented it, and I watched Seven when I was probably 14 or 15, and it's and talk about that film's still on. That's still my favorite film, I'd say.
That film holds up so well.
Yeah, and I love it. I just love it. I just think everything about it. It's so well crafted and executed and acted, and the cinematography and everything is just so.
There's no fat on it.
Yeah, and I love Fincher, and I could do just, top 5 films and just interchange most Fincher films, but Seven, for me, obviously had a point in my brain of seeing it so young that it stood out, but I loved it so much, so I was definitely too young to be watching it on VHS alone, and that thanks.
What was your view on Alien 3?
Yeah. I think I don't. Yeah, it's I didn't like it as much as the other two preceding it, but it's I didn't hate it, and that's when I kind of remember reading into just how much Fincher was handicapped, and so I would love to see him get his hands to be able to give his complete redo, because it's but it's also I'm a fan for it, because that's I think when Fincher, from what I've read, is when he realized that the studio weren't going to support him, and he was just going to say, fuck you, I'm going to do what I want from here on out. Yeah. And thank God he did, because look what he's done since, and
totally.
But no, I didn't think it's an awful, I don't think it's all. I would love to see his version fully, but it's I definitely didn't hate it.
There's a director's cut that got released fairly recently,
really?
Which is actually... It makes a lot more sense, and there's a lot more. Sorry, there's some ruckus going on outside. It makes a lot more sense, and it's added scenes back in that they had cut out, and I love it. I think those first 3 Alien films, I think they're all equally perfect. They just happen to be dealing with different subjects,
definitely,
and that's it. I think there's no, when everyone says which is your favorite Alien, I'm like, well, there's 1, 2, 3.
Yeah,
that's 1.
Yeah.
Then Jean-Pierre Genet's 4.
Yeah.
And then there are other Alien films.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And that's that.
Yeah, it's going to be Alien vs. Predator is my favorite. No, and
Requiem is the best.
Exactly, yeah. But no, I had a few friends that work on some of the Resurrection, I think it was. They shot it in Thailand. I had a bunch of friends from Australia, crew went over and did that, and they, the sets. What an amazing franchise to work on. There's such an amazing world, but I always thought with that franchise, I love, what Ridley Scott said about how he was the one that had to design the alien, and it was all about the build up of this and that, and whereas the second one is Alien, it's just such a great action film. It's so different, but yeah, no, they're just such great worlds. But I think I've got a framed picture that I somehow stole from Panavision back in the day when I left. When they moved, they were moving buildings, but it's of Darius Kunji on set of when he was shooting for Fincher back on that. So but Seven to me is amazing. I actually had sidetracking too much. I was on set. I did a film called Nobody Wants to Shoot a Woman, which came out earlier this year. And we're shooting in Chelsea, in Manhattan, and of all things, we were shooting fucking car interior, boring stuff. But I was trying to do some really moody, low light, like light coming through and stuff. And I remember my first AC on that, I get over the walk, he goes, Joel, I don't know how to tell you this, but Darius Kunji's on the monitor. And I was just like, oh God, like, why am I shooting car interiors? Like, I wish I was shooting car interiors. Like,
fucking today? Today's the day, is it?
Like, why am I shooting car interiors with like one of the greatest cinematographers of all time is watching? And I'm just like, fuck. So I remember we finished that shot and we pulled over to the curb where we'd gotten that. So the door opens and there was like, hello, I am Darius. And he was there to shake my hand. And I was just like, I am fucking shitting myself, you know, like this is just one of those moments you're just like, I cannot believe this is happening. But it was like we were done with that scene, and Eddie, the first AD, I think realized like I think Joel's going to need a few minutes because I don't think we're going to be able to pull him away from chatting with Darius. But it actually turned out like he knew one of our producers and he'd seen some of the footage of the film before that, and like so we actually got to chat for like probably 25 minutes, half an hour, and just like. Beautiful. And I told him how it's like Seven was just such an inspiring, you know, just such an inspiration for his use of darkness and everything. And like, and we'd spoken a lot about the look of Nobody Wants to Shoot a Woman. And he was like, oh, you know, from what I've seen, he's just like, what you're doing with your darkness is like that inspires me. And like, I almost passed out. I'm like, talk about a tattoo you're going to get put around in there. Like, I just, hearing Darius Kunji say that, I'm just like, oh my God, this is just the greatest moment of my life, you know. But he was just such a wonderful, wonderful person, and just just so friendly and kind, and gave me tips, you know, spoke about filters and lenses, and just like, it was wonderful. But Seven was always been such an inspiration. So to get to meet him and hang out with him and was amazing.
Man, that's fucking beautiful for you. I love that.
Yeah, I'll send you the photo of me and him on set. Like, couldn't punch me the smile off my face, you know.
I tell you what though, like you're worried about like shooting car interiors.
Yeah,
he's shot car interiors. He knows what's happening. You know what I mean? So you're over there like, this isn't my best work, and he's probably there going like, I bet he can't do his best work.
Yeah,
because I know what that's like.
Yeah, exactly.
That's decent.
Yeah.
So I mean, Seven is a pretty grown-up film, but what was the first film you watched that you considered grown-up?
I think for this, the first film I'd consider grown-up, there was a New Zealand film, like my dad's from New Zealand, and his best friend, him and his best friend Ra went to see the film Once Were Warriors together, and it's Temuera was named Temuera Morrison, plays like Boba Fett. Yeah. And it's
Cook the man some fucking eggs. Like I saw that film. I think we had to watch it. We watched it in high school. But it's like I distinctly remember like my dad's best friend having such an impact because he's got Maori blood in him and he grew up in a lower income part of New Zealand. So it was like it hit home so much that that film was so raw and I remember Dad saying it was just such an amazing film, and I can't remember if I watched it like soon after or like we had to watch it through school or something. But I remember watching in my mid later teen years of watching Once Were Warriors, and it is one of the heaviest movies like I've ever seen, but it is so brilliant and just such a well acted film. And like Temuera Morrison had only been he was like New Zealand George Clooney before then, you know, like he'd been in a soap opera, playing a doctor before then, you know, like, and he came out. It's like Eric Bana was a comedian before Chopper.
Yeah,
you know?
It's like
you just don't think.
No, and I think it's like
go watch his Poida sketches.
Poida, I can't believe you know all that stuff. Poida. It's like
mate, when he does Horsey into the swimming pool,
yeah,
fucking loved it.
It's like when people always ask like, "What's the movie quote you quote that like no one else knows?" But it's like for me, I always like Twister, yeah, Twister, because like have you seen the Castle, which is like one of the most iconic Australian films ever.
I know it. I really want to watch it though.
But it's because he plays like a kickbox. He's like the daughters. They come back from their honeymoon, and they're like, "What movies are playing on the plane?" He goes, "Oh yeah, Twister, yeah, Twister." It's like it just pops in my head. But he's so good in it, and it's like just such a good comedic actor and just brilliant. But
I think one of the ones that always sticks in my head is it The Nugget, where he goes, We've just ordered our second Mongolian platter, boys. That means we've made it.
Oh, so good. Oh my God,
It's
so
so
good.
good.
Yeah, it is so funny. But that's the thing. And like, and now with Timur Morrison, like seeing him have such a hugely successful career is so great because like, and like I bet a lot of people that have watched Boba Fett have never seen Once Were Warriors, but like it was just something about that film that, you know, it was just so brilliantly performed and such a raw look at what it was like in these areas, you know, like and yeah, having like family and my New Zealand family and stuff like that, like knowing this is how life is in these communities and stuff like that. And like I remember that was the first movie that I watched in a way that like it knew that it was really real and it wasn't like any sort of glossed up Hollywood, anything like that. Like this was as raw as it gets and as real as it gets, and just how bad, you know, domestic violence can be in these communities, you know. So yeah, that Once a Warrior stands out to me as a film that like I still think is just, it's one of the most incredible, you know, performances. But yeah,
Australian and New Zealand films really have, like, they can really capture that fucking grim nastiness, and not in like, you know, like, oh, this guy's a nasty guy. It's like I watched Snowtown the other day, and that was it's just like, oh yeah, it's just fucking horrible and bleak, man.
Yeah, I watched it. I'm blanking on his name, the lead actor from Snowtown. Though I've worked with him before.
Nice.
Just on a little commercial thing in New York, and yeah, my friend had just watched Snowtown. I'm like, it's Ben. I think I'm blanking on his name. Sorry, but I'm like, can you put your hands around my neck so you can take a photo to send to my buddy who just watched Snowtown? He's like, yep. So I've got this photo of him like choking me, and I'm being like, sent it to a friend of mine. He's like, that movie was so grim. But yeah, I think, and that's what I mean about like, you know, I haven't shown too many of my Australian films to my kids yet, because I just think that genre of like crime and grittiness and stories is just what Australia does, and New Zealand is like so well that I think it's like that's definitely a more grown up genre. But like once you get into Australian film, I think there's just so many good films to watch.
There's fucking loads, and I love them. I love them. What film holds a special place in your heart?
I mean, I think a couple that come to mind, like for different, because I think there's like films for like inspiration and films just in general life. Like I think as a general life, and this is a really wild card for me, is like, and again, it's funny how these films, it's the reason why they're probably in like my top 4 letterbox, but like Garden State.
Oh, really?
I love that film a lot, but there was when I first saw it, like I really liked it, and like for a lot of reasons. But there's a scene in it, like when I was 16 years old, I started to have seizures, and I got diagnosed with epilepsy. That only last for a few years. Like I think they stopped when I was like 22 or so, maybe. But I used to be really embarrassed by it, and I used to really not how to deal with it. And I never had the grand mal seizures or any of that stuff. I would just like pass out, and like people would think, oh, he's drunk, he's this, that, and you know, like. But I really struggled with it, and like and I remember seeing Garden State. And like a friend of mine, I taught at a summer camp in upstate New York years ago. And my friend Paul is just like, he was savage. And the first thing he said to me, he goes, so here you're an epileptic. I'm like, yeah. And he was like, you're not getting any fucking sympathy from me. I was just like, who is this guy? What?
I don't fucking want me.
What are you talking about? But then he's like one of the funniest people I've ever met. And he just like gave me this way. And by the end of it, like I had a t-shirt that said Eppo shaken, not stirred. That I had a seizure in one day, or I had a fit in one day, and like I remember being on the ground, like passed out, and I just hear this hysterical laughing coming from behind, and everyone's like, "Paul, you're an asshole. You're such an asshole, Paul." And he's like, "But look at the shirt. Look at the
Come
shirt.
on, it's so fitting."
Yeah. But it's just like it was just so funny. But anyway, a bit of a detour. But like in Garden State, like when Natalie Portman's character talked about why she wears her helmet, and she's like, you know, because like epilepsy's like, you know, she's like, yeah, it makes me sad, but like you've got to laugh at it. And it was just like this whole life outlook that I'd been searching for in a way, and the way that she worded, the way she put it, and I was just hit home more than I think anything I've experienced in a film before. And overall, like I love that film and the soundtrack and the way characters come in and out and whatnot. But no, mainly just as a personal thing, that just really hit such a chord in me and how I wanted to approach that, which is now, haven't had it for 20 odd years, but it was like when it came on, yeah, it was that one. It definitely holds a place in my heart. But I think professionally, I would say it's kind of a tie between Sleepy Hollow, because when I saw Sleepy Hollow, that was the first time I saw something that was just like, it was when I was first getting interested in cinematography, and just seeing, I don't think I'd seen a stylized film like that before, and just what light could do. I mean, it was Chivo with Tim Burton, like what a combination.
Yeah, I mean, just same writer as Seven, so.
Exactly, yeah. There's a pattern here. But it's like, there's just it was just this eye-opening thing of just like, oh wow, like light can do this. Like you can do these things with light. That was just like, oh my God, like when my interest was first kind of peaking at cinematography, I was like, just seeing what light could do. I think that really inspired me to want to continue being a cinematographer. But the
color palette in grey in that film is amazing. The fact that you can get so much tonal depth.
It's
in just
unbelievable.
Grey. It's like, how are you doing this? This is so colourful, and there's no colour. Exactly,
yeah. And it's like, I mean, Chivo is just such a genius. But I mean, now, obviously his films he's been doing have been so different, but like it's just some magical work. But my favourite cinematographer when I was discovering all these was Conrad Hall, who apparently when I watched the behind the scenes or the commentary on the Sleepy Hollow DVD, shot the opening scene of like the close-ups of the pen of like the stamp, on the letter. Like Connie Hall shot that, and like I just loved Conrad Hall. So that was my other film in a place in my heart. Like when I saw Road to Perdition, I was thinking like, as a cinematographer, for me, that's the holy grail. Like I don't know if any other piece of it, to me, it's like, I don't think films should be perfect, but to me, in terms of cinematography, like Conrad Hall, like we studied it at film school, like in terms of screen direction, framing and lighting and just like composition, just everything about that film. And the fact that like he left us, like that was like his last film before he passed away after these just incredible career films like that. So seeing that film was just like this is cinematography in a capsule to me, I think. So that film, like, everyone's got their favorite cinematography films and this and that, but for me, it's like, I think Conrad Hall and what he did in Road to Perdition is just an absolute masterpiece.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
It's great.
That's nice. So you've had some lovely, wonderful, heartwarming stories and memories, but now for the juicy question. What's your controversial opinion on a famous film?
Oh, I mean, it's so tough. I feel like you can go... But again, as a person that's not like a uber, film critic, and I don't just want to say that I didn't understand Mulholland Drive or something like that, but which I do.
You and me both.
Yeah. When I see that film in people's top four, I just like, you're lying to me. I don't believe
he's dead now. You don't have to try and impress him. All right.
Yeah. It's like, but no, I think for me, it's a controversial take, but it's also just about the whole premise of how things are marketed. And for me, it's got to do with, I mean, in the broader sense of Nolan, I think he gets a lot of passes for a lot of stuff, but I think this is kind of ridiculous. But for me, it's like I thought like the whole, you must see Oppenheimer on the biggest screen possible. And like, this is shot in IMAX. This is the most necessary, you have to see it. So I did. Like, I went to the biggest IMAX I could see it on.
We all did.
Yeah. And it's just like, the whole fucking movie's a close-up. Hoyte van Hoytema is brilliant. And he deserved his Oscar, and it's some beautiful stuff in that film. Mm-hmm. But it's like, I just think it's just such a ridiculous thing to be like, you must see this on the biggest screen possible. I'm like, no, I don't. I just think it's like, the whole thing's in a close-up. And also, when it finally came to the explosion, I was kind of like, is that it? Like, I get that you did it practically. Practically. But it's also like, this is where, like, I think adding some effects can make it bigger. I get it.
Unfortunately, we've seen it done practically in a lot of old films. We've seen bombs go off. Show me what you can do, Nolan, because you've got a blank check.
Exactly.
We don't have blank check. You have a blank check, Nolan. Fucking show us.
No, exactly. Like, I just thought the whole like yeah, it was a great film, and Hoyte is a brilliant cinematographer. But I just thought the whole bit like you must see this, and like it's a close up, it tells the story really well. But I just think it's kind of just feels like such a film snobby type way of like no, I don't think you have like some of these films, yes, like Dunkirk, you see big. But like, yeah, for me, like Oppenheimer is just like, shut up! Like, don't make people feel bad for watching this on TV because I don't really think it took away from what Oppenheimer was. Like I think it was.
No, sure. And the cinemas around here did a IMAX day or like IMAX week. I think it was IMAX day. And instead of the normal like $25 for a film, films were $5. And a large popcorn and drink was only $5. So you're seeing a film for a tenner. And Oppenheimer, that's when I went to see Oppenheimer because it was like, okay, I'll go see it. I'm not a massive Nolan fan, just putting it out there. I don't want to be one of those film snobs where I'm like, I liked his early work, but I definitely preferred his early work.
Yeah.
And I saw it, and the cinema was full, and I was like, this is lovely, but I just feel like we all want to see this, but we don't want to spend $20. But you're also kind of the only filmmaker that's making us do that. Like everyone else who releases something on IMAX, like I went and saw Dune 1 and 2 in IMAX because it's beautiful landscapes. But like Oppenheimer and Tenet and all of these, it's like these don't need to be IMAX. And I don't know if you need to shoot in this, and I don't know why you're, like you said, don't know why you're telling everyone to go see it, because just go see your film. Surely your film should have its merits.
Exactly, yeah. Yeah, and I think that's just one of those, it's like, it's this achievableness of like, yeah, like what Nolan's, it's like, oh, shooting everything has to be shot IMAX. And I'm like, maybe you don't need to, maybe you don't need to do this. Like I thought as well, like Interstellar, I enjoyed. My wife hated it, but she still goes on about that. But
I'm on
like,
her side.
When you see like the Eureka stuff, how people can forgive the Eureka scene and still be like, "This is the best movie ever." I'm like, that cancels anything out. But it's just like, yes, I did go see that in the IMAX, and I was in New York when I went to see that on the one like he goes to test, the one on the Upper West Side. So it's brilliant, but it's like, okay, back for that film, you said you must go see this IMAX. So I did, but then that film wasn't all shot on IMAX film. So the scenes that were shot on like 35mm, when that was blown up to be such a scale, it felt like it was almost 16mm in terms of the grain, which, it can be beautiful, but it's like it's his face and stuff like that. And it's like, it just didn't feel right on that scale, to me. And I'm just like, yeah, I just think the whole, it's IMAX. It must be IMAX. It must be seen in IMAX. I think some films definitely, but I think there's just like with the way that he approaches it, I just don't really quite get, And like I went to a talk with him at Tribeca Film Festival years ago, and it was interesting. And it was him and Bennett Miller in conversation, who's just brilliant. And it was interesting, and they were kind of talking. And Bennett had clearly gone and watched all of Christopher Nolan's films before the conversation, and it didn't feel that reciprocated, in terms of like
he probably watched Foxcatcher and nothing else.
Yeah, exactly. But it's like, it's just, that's what I don't understand about the Nolan fandom. It's people are so obsessed, and like at the end when they opened up to a Q&A and people were asking Nolan about directing actors, and sure, I mean he is a brilliant director and one of the greats. But it's like if you've got Bennett Miller and Christopher Nolan and you have a question about directing actors, like for me, like as someone that's not a director, but like the guy that got those performances those performances in Foxcatcher and Moneyball, and like ask him a question, and it's just
that's where my questions would be directed.
Yeah,
like
I just think there's a fandom around it that I think it feels like it's this.
Well, I do think he's the new Tarantino in the sense that regardless, everyone goes like, "Oh, but he's so good. He's so good," and it's like, well, hold on, is he? And I'm not saying he isn't. I'm just making you question, is he?
Yeah.
Because is what they're doing something you've never seen before? Yes. Is that good? Yes. Is that necessarily meaning that he's the best at it? No. Like, so, like,
Yeah, I mean, for
Yeah,
me, his films are relatively hit and miss, and whether I've liked them or loved them, or yeah,
but they're
I
all
just yeah, they're
they're
all
all relatively. And I'm being careful because I know that the Nolan fan base are
yeah,
like Taylor Swift fans.
yeah, yeah, right.
But like all of his films are adaptations of other people's work,
Mm,
essentially.
mm-hmm,
And when he is touted as this sort of visionary, I'm like,
mm,
well,
yeah,
is he a visionary? Because if you've, you know, like go watch Stellan Skarsgård's Insomnia, like
yeah,
because
right,
it's a
yeah,
remake, you
yeah,
know, and it's you do have to sort of point out things like, is it Paprika?
yeah, yeah.
Is it Paprika that's like most of Inception is Paprika or
I'm not,
something? I think it's that one, or is it another one? There's another one which it's an anime that has
yeah,
the exact same scene of the mirrors
yeah,
down alleyways, and you're just sort of like, that's really cool if no one else has seen it,
yeah,
but you also have to own that, like, oh no, I took. It's a big
yeah,
collaborative pool. I find the things I find the most interesting, and I want to build on them, and I want to play with them,
yeah,
which Tarantino does do,
yeah.
but like I
I,
feel like
I,
no one really, yeah,
for me, they're different. Yeah, I just feel like the Christopher Nolan almost like it tries to make it feel unattainable for anyone else. Like this is something that he does
yeah,
and no one else can do. Where it's like, well, what Denny did in June and Greg did, like, and what that is in IMAX, or even what Autumn, seeing Sinners on IMAX and whatnot, But yeah, I think with Nolan, the difference for me from Nolan and say Tarantino is like Tarantino went and did a screening of, I think, I can't remember, I think it might have been Django in Australia,
mm,
and like he came and introduced the films, and like one of my friends was sitting in the row behind him during the movie, and I think the big difference is like love him or hate him. Apparently, during the movie, Tarantino sat there with a large bucket of popcorn and like a 6-pack of beers of like VB in Australia, and like laughed at every joke, and like, like just
good on him.
living for it, loving it, just like,
Yeah,
like he didn't, it just like I don't know, it just feels like this. No, it just feels this unrealistic kind of way of
I also don't think Nolan likes
put on a
film.
pedestal. Yeah,
Yeah, you know what I mean? Like, I don't think he enjoys film.
mm,
And it's like, oh, then why is
no,
it like, I don't know. I don't want to get
yeah,
into it because we
yeah.
were having such a lovely chat before. Why the fuck does he get all the money?
Oh, yeah,
Um,
exactly.
so, what have you been watching recently?
I think recently it's been a lot of showing my kids films because it's
Yeah.
just been too cold to watch stuff. So we just did the Planet of the like Matt Reeves' Planet of the Apes films.
Oh,
So that,
nice. Yeah.
and yeah, I mean Matt Reeves is he's a very talented director. That guy, like the way he took those couple of movies and whatnot, they were fun.
Yeah.
But besides like showing my daughters some films, just trying to see some of the Oscar contenders.
Hmm.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's just there's so much content now. It's so hard to kind of keep up, and like my wife and I like to watch TV shows together, so watch some TV series and stuff. But then I think now it's like the 3.5 hour long. Every movie can be can be hard. So, like, I'd be like, to my wife on the weekend, like when we finally get the kids to bed, like, you want to watch something? She's like, nah, like not
Mm.
now. So it's like, but she's like, I do want to see that eventually. So I'm like, all right, I'll wait for you.
Oh, but I've got a separate list of
Yeah,
like, do
yeah,
you want to see this or do you want to see this?
yeah. Well,
'Cause it's
exactly.
like,
Well, I think our lists have now gone separate because we actually watched. Was it on Saturday or Sunday night? We watched Begonia, and
oh,
like,
nice.
as soon as that movie finished, she just went like, nope, and like walked off. And like as she's doing a tea for the next 15 minutes, she's like, I can't get those hours back in my life, and like she just hated it so much.
Oh, I
And
loved it.
and like I thought it was great. Like
Yeah.
it's like it's a dark comedy. It's like it wasn't. I'm like I was laughing all the way through, and like the performances, it was just like it was great. Just like nope, not doing that again. And it's like it's similar to she doesn't like when she thinks it's weird for the sake of being weird. I'm like, I don't even do
Okay.
this. Like
No.
she did the same thing with Everything Everywhere All at Once. Like after that, she's
Oh,
like nope.
really?
Yeah, she's just like nope, didn't like that. And I'm like, I loved it, but.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I think now if it's too weird or it feels weird, I'll probably watch that before, but
So
before showing
I've got a
her.
similar thing where like I'll sit in my office and I'll watch a film, and I've got a proper screening set up, so it's all good. But I'll be sat there watching my films, and then sometimes I'll be watching something and I'm like, even I think that this might be a bit too weird.
Mm-hmm.
So whenever like Kirsty knocks on the door, I'm just sort of like, I'm going to pause it, and I'm not even. And if you're like, how's the film? I'm like, it's fine. What do you want?
Yeah.
It's like
Yeah.
you can't engage with this because even I think this is a bit off.
Yeah, it's going to be. This is too much for your taste and stuff like that. Yeah, but I don't know whether it's just weird because, like I said, she didn't like Interstellar. But no, I think for me, it's just like there's so many good films. Like I don't even think I saw all the Best Picture films last year. So it's like it's trying to catch up on some. It's trying to when I do get a chance, and like I think now that I've finished a bit of post production on films and. Good, I was just in New York doing some doc stuff, and like I think now I've got a little bit of time, except for the kids are off school all next fucking week.
Yeah.
So it's like, oh no, can't do it next week. But I think I'll just continue to try to bang out some of the Oscar contenders, and to see them again. And even like my parents were just in town, and they again on a really cold day wanted to watch a film, and they hadn't seen The Brutalist, so we watched that.
Oh, nice.
And they both really enjoyed
Lol
that.
Crawley is. Well, Lol Crawley was born in the town I'm in at the moment.
Oh, really?
Shrewsbury.
Oh, wow.
But he lived in Powys, which is sort of like half an hour up the road.
Gotcha.
And when he won, I don't know him. I've never met him. Nothing. I just messaged him on Instagram. And I was like, if you're in Shrewsbury, you're referred to as a moner. So I just said, like, from one moner to another. Well done, lad.
That's amazing.
That was it.
That's so cool.
But
That's great. Yeah, no, he's great. Beautiful film. But no, I think, I mean, but again, it's like I said, like I still want to watch fun, dumb stuff as well when it comes out. Like I don't want to just only ever be, especially when if I'm in pre-production, like I've just been talking about a possible film that I might be doing. I think it was going to be April, probably in the summer, and it's a bit of a road trip film. So it's like I'll start to. Like, not fully greenlit yet, but I'm the type of cinematographer that, like, I don't wait until, like, all right, we've got the money, we start pre, like March, we've got a month of pre. Like, I want to, just get into it as soon as possible. So I'll start, marking those scripts and maybe watching some films that I might think are relevant. So I've been watching a few, like I watched Itu Mama Tambien again, like,
nice.
Which I hadn't seen in years. Yeah, just to kind of with road trips and stuff like that, just kind of get my head in that kind of stuff. But if that film pushes, I'll probably have more time to kind of watch some random stuff. But when I get into pre-production, like I do watch a lot of references and trying to get a director to give me, there's not a bad reference, whether it be art or movies or shows. Send them all to me. And if you want me to watch a dozen films, like I'll try and get through them as best as possible. So
it's different when it's work, isn't it?
Yeah.
Like, if it's for work, I'll watch whatever you need to do. Like, I judge a short film festival in North Carolina, and it's like, I'll watch 30, 40, 50 short films, and I'm like, yep, cool. Yeah. I've got time for that. But if someone was like, have you watched this film yet? I'm like, I haven't got time for the cinema.
Exactly, yeah. I have not been, exactly, yeah. Yeah, I'm actually going down for a film festival. I'm judging the cinematography of this film festival in Arkansas.
Nice. Which
is a really great film festival. And random story, years ago, I saw one of the best shorts I've ever seen. It's called B Flat. I don't know if it was made by an Argentinian filmmaker, and it was about some guy. I can't remember. He's trying to find his crocodile, and if he played the right note on his trumpet, the crocodile would come back.
Beautiful.
But it was just this most random, funny film. And then, like, my friend, a director that I work with who runs that festival, he's like, dude, the guy that shot and produced B Flat was the guy that shot Train Dreams and it's nominated for an Oscar. The cinematographer of Train Dreams. So like again, like I messaged him on Instagram, and I was just like, because Train Dreams is work so beautiful. But I was like, I've loved B Flat for so long, like it's one of my favorites. And he was just like, holy shit, yeah. He had a pretty funny response to it because it was not your normal thing. You've reached out to. Someone getting all the success. But I wanted to tell him that, loved your work since then. You did a great job on that film and keep up the great work. But it's funny when you can kind of have these, connections to people. And
I'm not a fan of social media, but I do like it when that kind of stuff happens.
Yeah, exactly. And I think that's, just on a quick little tangent, I think it can feel like such a competitive game and stuff like that. Yeah. And like from when I was at film school to promoting your work and posting stuff. And like now that Instagram for cinematographers almost became like a business card, like it's like I hate that stuff. And there is a lot of pressure on it. And if it does feel competitive, it does, so like I still post just stupid shit most of the time. I still like in terms of stories and, political stuff, especially given the day and age and living in America and whatnot, instead of just being like so career focused. And I think it's so easy to get, feel like everyone's competing with each other. But I think as people kind of learn what they do and what they want to do as a cinematographer or as a filmmaker, it's like if you can reach out to someone and they can how I messaged him and we laughed about that short film, I would love to see him win, I'd love to see, I mean, people that I've known back, that have been nominated for Oscars and stuff like that. It's just like, you want to see good people win. And that's like, if you treat people well, like Greg Fraser's he's a wonderful guy, he's such one of the greats. But like I first met him years ago when I was working at Panavision, and when I moved to the States, I had a couple of questions and we were emailing, and then we hopped on a call for, we've chatted a bit here and there, and he's always been such a good dude. And I just think you can be a good person in this industry and just don't feel like you've got to fight with everyone. I think that's the thing with social media. It's just like, I'm going to show that I'm better. It's all rubbish, and it's hard to not fall into the trap, but it's just like, good people are succeeding. And I think that's what's sort of important to know.
That's a good message to leave on. So let's totally leave it there. Well, thank you very much. There's been some great films in there, and there's definitely some things I'm going to rewatch. I think Seven is probably one that I'm definitely going to rewatch soon, because I think I can't remember the last time I watched it. It wasn't that long ago, but because I know there is a criterion of it, and I'm always now I'm getting to that point where it's like, I want the nicest versions of all the films that I know I like.
Yeah, exactly.
Then it's whatever. So it's like, well, maybe I'll get the criterion of Seven.
Yeah, it's like, how can I watch it to experience it as good as humanly possible? It's like
exactly. You are talking to a man who owns a Laserdisc player. So.
Oh, classic. That must be amazing.
I loved I loved it. Right? I've got like original Japanese Evil Dead.
Oh my God.
Like beautiful artwork on it. And then all of like Jim Cameron's films.
Yeah.
Like, up until the 4K release of The Abyss, my Laserdisc of The Abyss was the best version of it.
That's amazing.
And I love it.
I'm gonna randomly throw one on like my birthday wish list and wait for my wife to be like, "What the fuck are you asking for?"
It's the future. It's better than a VHS, but not as good as a DVD.
Yeah, it's back, baby. Yeah.
But thank you very much for coming on.
No, thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
Everyone go check out the Yeti when it comes out.
Yeah, appreciate it.
And good to speak to you.
Yeah, thanks, mate.
See ya.
See ya.
This has been a Lovable Rogue Productions podcast. Thank you to everyone that listened. If you want to help out your life in film, then download it, like it, share it, and give the pod a follow. I didn't realise till starting this that a download is the way they measure success and not just a listen. So, listening means nothing. Make sure you check out my guests on their socials, which will be in the description of the episode. Take a look at my letterbox. I've made a list of all the films that have been mentioned on the pod. There's fucking hundreds. So you can find some good films there. There are some good ones. There's some fucking weird ones, and I love them. Quick shout out to some of the podcasts I'm listening to. Caliber 9 from Outer Space. That's Robin Joe's. That's really good. And then The Villain Was Right. That's a great fun. Check that out. If you really want to be a mensch, give me that money. There's a link in the description. It'll explain it all. But a download and a share is excellent, and I actually appreciate that a lot more than you'd think. We currently have no sponsors, but I am open to them. I'll shill anything. I don't care. This has been a Lovable Rogue production. Thank you for listening.